Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. 53 wins in a row. You're just hoping to get a chance to extend it. What does Dan say? ETR, extend the run. MQ4JTW3K. Always a little spooky when you start with Curse of the Unknown. Potato Peeler's kind of a funny add-on here. Because in theory, we could press the space bar and be killed. I absolutely 1000% have to say, the stats on this run are incredible. Like, Skinny Odd Mushroom. Inevitably, here's the funny thing about it is I think, you know, from a causality standpoint, or like at least order of operations, pretty sure the game rolls the stats and then gives you the items. So I bet we had like an 8 rate of fire, like 4 damage run. And then it gave us Skinny Odd Mushroom, which took us down to a 5 rate of fire, 3.17 damage. But honestly, that's like still insanely great. I would love to get Secret Room access. This is actually huge. You might not see it the same way just yet. We'll save our bomb. It's a little bit more precious here early on, I think. But, oh, we just wanted to see a Spirit Heart for sale. But I will say... there's something to think about in that room. What is there to think about? Well, I'm just wondering, like, if it wouldn't be worth it to buy Pandora's box. I think it gives us 2 bombs and 2 keys. That would probably not be worth it. Is it worth it then to get Champion Belt? Probably. It's a bit weird. Like, it would have been a lot simpler to just have a Spirit Heart in there. No doubt about that. Okay, we got a little lucky there. Did you hear me slap the keys? That's how you know I was pogged up. Had a more emphatic action potential there. Anyway, we're really, like, here's the thing. We don't know where our HP is at. One champion could crush us in a single hit, which is why I'm being a little coy right now and not trying to go fight that boss right away, even though our stats are awesome. Might be wise to look for a second secret room. It's a pretty small floor. You would expect that this is a pretty good chance. Okay, I mean, none of these are going to be unfilled. We know that for certain. So honestly, I mean, the simplest explanation that I could give you right here, we want to see... Thank God that still hit him. We want to see HP from this boss, and now I'm realizing that's pretty unlikely. I think we're just gonna head down. I'd like to save our bomb for potential early Tinted Rock. Let's see where we stand. Alright, we were not in a bad place, but I'm still definitely happy we didn't take damage. And this is now an exercise for me in just trying to make sure that we don't use our orbital unnecessarily. Now, Potato Peeler, I've done a much better job. We got pretty lucky there. I've done a much better job with Potato Peeler discipline as of late. You know, I used to just say, send it. I don't get hit anyway. Worth trying. Not a great way to think about things, and actually did kill one of our streaks earlier in quarantine, but now we're just rooting for maybe a little bit more HP, because to get a little extra damage, which we can do via Potato Peeler, on top of getting some value is good, but to be honest, this is kind of like a local minimum in terms of the efficacy of Potato Peeler. Because when you have no orbitals, it's really good to get a cube of meat. When you have orbitals but no cube of meat, it's pretty good to get a cube of meat. When you have a level 1 cube of meat, getting a level 2 is like maybe the worst upgrade. Of all the cube of meat upgrades, at least. Scapular could keep us alive. Hopefully won't be relevant. You know, with the fishtail, we would really do pretty well here to get, like, a Guppy's head. I know that, you know, it's... Guppy's head is like... Everybody plays favorites to some extent, right? Nobody's completely unbiased. I recognize that I have a bias towards Guppy's head. I think it's better than it probably is. But as a result, any opportunity that I get to use it... Oh, baby. Alright, let's hit this. Very likely to be a sack. You know, that's pretty good. Maybe a Perth Throw would be really nice here. Well, we don't know. So we're not going to take those just yet, because we might want them after after we see what our deal with the devil is. Might be able to get something on the cheap. Okay, that's our first bit of damage, which we definitely should not have taken, but... That's an AWAS. We definitely want it. It's spicy, but we want it. Here's the thing. I think we actually take experimental treatment. I don't think they'll let me go down to 0 HP. I was very incorrect. However, we did get good benefits, and we've hedged our bets by having the Eternal Hearts there anyway. So even though I was incorrect, I stand by that as being like, if not the right thing to do, at least not the most wrong. And we'll, as much as I would like Tarot Cloth, and I really would, I think buying the Spirit Heart there is kind of your obvious play. And we actually have an amazing run, burdened by low HP. It's as simple as that. If we can get our HP more survivable, then we'll be okay. I guess we'll take this one. We did pay for it. If we can get, you know, maybe... I mean, even just to have 3 HP would be pretty swell here. Keep in mind, Rotten Baby is essentially 2 Rotten Babies, because we have the fly-generating Trinket as well, which is really, really nice. All we need to do is, I think we play a slow game early on here. And be very careful not to accidentally hit the spacebar and potato peel yourself into oblivion. But apart from that, I'm actually like I'm liking the run a lot. And I think like the one thing I want to say in my own defense on an Isaac related context early on here is like if it weren't for those 2 Eternal Hearts in the second secret room, I wouldn't have taken experimental treatment. I only felt the confidence necessary to take them as a result of having the extra HP at hand. Now, was it a mistake? I don't think so, but admittedly, I'm a little... Oh, that's very nice, actually. Admittedly, the main reason I don't think so is because of the fact that experimental treatment turned out amazing for us. We got, like, great damage bonuses off of it. So, I want a Spirit Heart. I mean, Hive Mind would be amazing as well. But more than anything else, I think Black Candle to not have to deal with curses anymore and to also have a Spirit Heart would be nice. But there's Hive Mind, there's a regular Spirit Heart in there, man. Like, I think the best we could hope for is 20 cents. To get to 15 would be, like, pretty good. Not gonna spend my last bomb for that. Whoa, a bit of a spicy room here. You can't really afford to be throwing away our very meager supply of Spirit Hearts right now. Anyway, I don't know. Are we in banter territory? It's still a little hot, but this is also like a super, super good run from an offensive standpoint. Well, I would say don't get too attached to any of those 15-cent items, although we'll see what... if we can blow up our donation machine, we'll see what we can get out of it. Or maybe we'll just get Pageant Boy. I don't know. This might be one of the few situations where Pageant Boy is sick for us. We did get another deal with the devil. Hierophant would be... That's not how that works. Okay. I mean, you gotta. It's... You know as well as I do, I absolutely love Sack Dagger, but, I mean, you gotta go Brimstone, especially with our absurd rate of fire. We actually haven't had Brim in a little while. Not to try to defend myself unnecessarily, but we haven't had this in a bit. I would rather use a bomb. Oh, it's I didn't realize. Okay, so here's my thinking then. If I had to guess, this is a bit of a pinch, but I think this is probably our secret room. And it didn't work out. We got 2 cents and Mini Mush. I actually think we can take Mini Mush. The speed is maybe a little high, but it's okay. And then let me just see if we get something here. So I think you gotta. Is that simple. I don't think there's anything else we could really do there. So, again, we're kind of in, like, real glass cannon hours right here. It's not that way, is it? Is this way? Yeah. I'm not really concerned, but it's concerning. Sorry, it's a little metal straw action there. I could see how people would be concerned, for sure. This arcade, though, is potentially extremely huge. Alright. Learning a very valuable lesson about our damage stat right now. Don't get me wrong. Against non-tanky bosses, and this is, okay, this is maybe the most notorious of the early game tanky bosses. Against non-tanky bosses and basic enemies, we're gonna just crush. But against bosses, we're struggling just slightly, just a slight struggle here. Alright. So I do, that arcade is actually like an immense potential benefit. I apologize, by the way. I always prefer a little banter to a little Isaac analysis, but this is definitely a run for the time being where the analysis is much more prudent. I don't know why, like, this is such an inverted run as compared to the norm. Like, we're getting so many keys and so few pennies. It's just, it's not, again, not really complaining to a huge degree. It's just a little surprising. So, everything on this floor, that's so unfortunate. But everything on this floor flows through coins first and foremost. Is the way I see it. That's my content strategy right now. How so? Well, we get coins. We play regular judgment. Regular judgment eventually pays out with HP. That HP allows us to play demon judgment. Demon judgment maybe gives us some extra damage over top. That's how everything flows here. Alternatively, you know, a little bit of regular HP from the boss allows us to play the blood bank, gives us more money, allows us to play, and this shop is not what we're looking for, but I didn't mean to donate, but financially this is actually pretty important for us, even if it might seem a little minor. All this stuff, it adds up in a big way. Like, there's kind of like an arcade flowchart. I would say in order to get... that's as close as I'm willing to get. In order to get, like, your certificate to go from, like, intermediacy to advanced mastery of Isaac, you need to understand the flowchart. And this is the flowchart right here. We get money, which allows us to get HP. Which allows us to get HP. This HP then allows us... I mean, you could play this two ways. You could use it to get money, or you could use it to play the Demon Judgment. We're going to use it on the Demon Judgment for sure. That's about as far as I'm willing to go here. Alright, that's a slap in the face, honestly. Yo, Egghead made it so we didn't get hit on that first one. Okay, we're going to get some red hearts, and then that thing should pay out on our next attempt. It would be huge just to get an item out of this. Okay, dude, that's enormous. Okay, so, like, I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, because I think that most people probably agreed with me. But, I mean, it's clear, dude. That's what we were looking for. And now we got that. I mean, the great thing about HP, a resource that I very much undervalued for a long time, is that it's renewable, you know? It's like one of those only resources you spend, but you get it back. You know, we spent HP on the Demon Judgment, but we're getting HP back as soon as we get another half red heart. I've really come to respect HP as a resource. I still, you know, from a fun standpoint, I prefer tears, I prefer damage, but, you know, I think I went through a period of years and years of, like, disrespecting HP. And now I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm all in, but I'm pretty stoked. It's like, you know, I don't know if you've had this experience, but definitely like when I was growing up, you know, I mean, you don't know any better when you're a kid, right? You eat your parents' or grandparents' home cooking for a long time, and then you go like, oh, I'm so sick of, oh, this beautiful roast beef my mom spent all day on. You know, and then you get a little older, maybe you go off to college and you're eating dry ramen noodles, and you're like, you know what, I could really go for mom's roast beef right now. It's one of those things, you know, we get a little bit more perspective on life. All of a sudden, you're like, you know what? I think I was being kind of a baby about it before. That being said, I miss my mom's home cooking on occasion, for sure. She's a good cook. So is my dad, actually, for the most part. We have disagreement on how much you should cook your steak, but I almost look at it as like two different food products. There's like steak, which is, you know, what you would like want to get from a restaurant. And then there's like dad steak, which is like, you're just putting A1 on that son of a gun and then going to town like some kind of warrior, you know? I like them both. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, what I was going to say is I don't miss my grandma's cooking at all. I respect the effort that she put into it, don't get me wrong, but a lot of, I mean, I laugh every time I tell the story. We don't need anything. We don't need anything here. But, because I told this story before and people were like, half of the people were like, that exists. The other half of people were like, yo, dude, my girlfriend loves that food, and I always thought she was the only one. My grandma's meal used to be like a full ham from the grocery store heated up, because it comes like pre-cooked, basically. Followed by, or accompanied by, I should say, canned little round white potatoes that always like were super weird because they maintained like a ridiculous amount of moisture in them. So they were like the texture of the potato. You would take them out of the can and then bake them. They would get like crispy on the outside but spongy on the inside, which is not ideal. I think we can now afford to get a reroll here. I don't want to pay for 2 item rooms. I don't want to pay 15 cents just to make 2 item rooms slightly better. I don't really want to pay 15 cents to make 2 boss rooms slightly better either, to be honest with you. And then like canned miniature corn and served with a full loaf of Wonder Bread. So, you know, again, I'm not saying like, oh, thanks for nothing, Grandma. I'm saying, you know, no disrespect, however. I do miss my mom's cooking. Honestly, that's like one of the, I mean, there's a multitude of reasons. Really? You're going to give me the same thing again? That's BM. I actually, believe it or not, okay, this is a good time to think about it. We have a deal with the devil coming. I honestly think we don't smelt at all. Even though a 3rd level Meat Boy would be interesting, I think I actually prefer the orbital. But just by holding Trinket Smelter, we're going to have 4 times the flies instead of 2 times. And we're going to be able to... No, wait, is that... No, I'm thinking of Mom's box of trinkets. Either way, we're going to be able to have this and another trinket, which I actually think... I mean, it beats Potato Peeler for sure. This run is now pretty much set. But yeah, one of the reasons I'm excited to have my... I mean, my parents are coming around the time of the birth for a bit. But, like, my dad is going home to get back to work after, like, a couple of weeks. My mom might be staying, you know, for a couple of months. I'm excited to have a little mom breakfast and lunchtime. There's nothing... Look, I'm a grown man. I can make my own lunch. Also, Kate makes me lunch sometimes. It's always delicious. There's just something about... Oh, I don't even know why you would pick this up, but there's just something about a mom lunch. Even when you're, you know, a fully grown adult. It just hits the spot differently. I don't know how to describe it. What's your typical mom lunch when you think back? I think of like now my mom makes a lot of wraps, but she goes like out of the, like she does way more than is necessary. She goes beyond the minimum requirements. She even has like you know, red and white butcher's paper to like wrap the wrap in, so it's like a little bit more restaurant quality. It's, you know, I was gonna say paper doesn't grow on trees, Mom, but I mean, look, I'm just, it's nice. It's a nice little accent, okay? Yo, Egghead saved us from getting hit there, I think. That's very nice. As a kid, though, it was definitely, and this is not really like something that requires a lot of skill to make, and that's not a slight, you'll hear why in a second. But usually on Fridays, for like a couple of years in my adolescence, my dad would bring home like a pizza from Pizza Hut. So on Saturday, it was like, you know, whatever was left over, maybe a slice or two, Mom would throw it in the microwave, and then you eat that like spongy, reheated Pizza Hut pizza, where the cheese is like double melted, which is like not the way it should be, but it's like it's got its own unique flavor as a result, you know? It's like a different food group altogether. That's like my typical memory of a Saturday lunch. That's all I got, though. Hey, I'm trying to make boss rush here. If you could pick it up a little bit. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Okay, we're post Tony. Not that the Tony ever left, but we're post that release window. Dude, okay, now we can banter. Like, we got Brimstone, great stats. I mean, I guess we've been bantering. True enough. It's been a great little period for games, dude. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 Remastered. Very sec. Fall Guys Update, Season 2 incoming. Very sec, as long as they keep giving me Hexagon. Spelunky 2, extremely sec. And then, Hades 1.0. I mean, it's like, it's been an incredible time for games. Now, you know, if I lived in a perfect world, maybe I would have architected some of those to release a little earlier or a little later to dodge my own significant life event. But this, you know, it is very selfish of me, I'll admit. I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm merely saying if I made it, that's how I'd do it. But I didn't make it because I don't have those kind of skills. Instead, I piggyback on the skills of people who are, you know, wizards in their own medium, and then I go, bro, there's nothing I could do, and people are like, this is the greatest video I've ever seen. It's a pretty sweet arrangement. I'm not gonna deny it. Okay, we'll play around with you here. No, that's stupid. No, I mean, I kind of don't want to waste all my bombs. No, that's like, look, we've been there, done that, right? Okay, Lost Contact for Shielded Tears is actually awesome. We'll blow you up for a better deal with the Devil Chance, and you know what? Not worth it, like, at all. But at least we got something out of it. And I'll tell you, good, not amazing, but good damage, Brimstone, Shielded Tears. You know, Rotten Baby summoning double the flies here. We got a really nice thing going on. This is a very solid run. It's better than solid. This is like it's a, maybe not a 10 out of 10, but like an 8.5. Okay, why not, you know? This is what we got Smelter for. You know what they say, you Smelter, you dealt her. Hope you dealt her pocket aces so she can win the World Series of Poker. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I've been watching, I know I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but I got a few more episodes deep into that HBO Max show, Raised by Wolves. I am enamored with it. It's a weird thing. I think this is like a snob's mentality. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm enjoying the show. Do I feel confident enough to say that it's good? No. Like, if I had to... If you put a gun to my head and said, like, is this show great? I don't know what I would answer. I would probably be dead. I mean, I don't know what kind of false dilemma I'm creating for myself here, but you get the idea, right? But it's... If entertaining and compelling is good by itself, then I would say it's good. But I don't necessarily think compelling is always good by itself. Like, for example, you know, there's viral videos that are compelling of, like, you know, people getting into fights on the sidewalk. Is that good? No, it, like, might even be, like, worse than bad. You know what? I'm gonna be the biggest coward of all time. I'm just like, I don't wanna, we don't need them. We're set. But, would have been interesting to have the knives out there, but I actually think it would have done less damage, quite frankly. But definitely, every episode, I leave with questions, and I leave being like, I really want to see where they're going with this. There's some interesting ideas in this show, and they're clearly not afraid. Like, you know how so much of prestige television is like a slow burn? Like, every television series now, if you wanted to caricaturize it, is like, you know, 9 episodes of moving chess pieces around. And then the 10th episode, the season finale, is where the actual movement takes, dun 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 dun, where the chip's gonna fall. Raised by Wolves is like, they spend like 2 minutes setting the table, and then they're like, we're flipping it over. And then you're like, what are you gonna do next episode? And they're like, we're setting another table, brother. But I think it harkens back to what I've said a few times. I will essentially watch anything sci-fi, and even, like, bad sci-fi is good, you know? Because it's always interesting to be like, oh, let's see what they got. Like, because there's no, like, fact-checkers in sci-fi. I don't know, but that's not true. There's a lot of people who are, like, really... and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they're really anal about, like, you know, the physics of hard sci-fi and stuff like that, which is fine. You know, it's not necessarily how I analyze the media, but it's a way to do so. But it's always interesting, just on some level, to be like, hey, this is what they, you know, this is their vision of what the future would look like. Whoa, weird. I didn't know picture frames could look like that. It's always kind of interesting to see those visions of the future, right? I think so. Anyway, what am I talking about? Raised by Wolves. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Also, dude, we need to study Ridley Scott's brain. Like, there's like a Ridley Scott starter pack. It's like skin-tight outer space outfits, a distrust of androids, and then like milk blood coming out of their face for sure. And then like strong female protagonists with short hair. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not mad at Ridley Scott at all. Like, he's got a type, apparently. I'm not the biggest Ridley Scott fan. Like, I love Aliens, which I guess is James Cameron, but, you know, he's got the... I love the mythos of the franchise, or like it a lot, at least. But I am always like, you can spot a Ridley Scott sci-fi movie, or property, I guess I should say, from, like, you know, 2 years away. You're like, was it shot in Iceland? Yes. Okay. Is it simultaneously, like, very sterile, but also very gross? Like, very gooey and body horror type stuff? Yes. Okay. Well, we're 2 for 2. Does it star an actress in her 20s and 30s that has short hair? You know it, brother. You see that? You're in Ridley Town, my friend. Alien, like all the aliens. Prometheus, then Alien Covenant as well, even though it's 2 different actresses playing, you know, I mean, playing 2 different roles. But, and then, you know, Raised by Wolves, yet again. Although I do get the idea that Ridley Scott has probably had the conversation before where they're like, Ridley, could you just give her long hair for once? Just to, not like it's better or worse, but just to mix it up. And then Ridley's like, in space it wouldn't make sense to have long hair. It would get caught in the airlock. And they're like, all right, you crotchety old son of a gun. And let me guess, then she explodes and a prototype alien comes out of her chest. No, she is the prototype alien. What, Ridley? This is madness. This is crazy. Anyway, those are not Raised by Wolves spoilers, by the way. Raised by Wolves is kind of like, you know, I'm not willing to say because I don't know. It's not a non-spoiler either, but I'm not willing to say because I don't know whether there's any kind of alien stuff going on. Because Ridley Scott, he does have a little, he does like that, right? I promise you, this one's not about the xenomorphs. And then at the end of the movie, wouldn't you know it, there it is. But I don't think that's going to be the case. This seems very much like its own standalone property. Again, I would definitely recommend watching it. I think that, you know, there's a lot of shows that you kind of just, you know, are like, people have a mildly positive opinion on. Like Chef's Table. You know, I've been watching a little Chef's Table on Netflix. It's a very artful cooking show with human stories. Do I love the show? No. If, you know, Kate was like, you want to watch some Chef's Table? I'd be like, absolutely. Every episode provides me with some kind of insight, right? Raised by Wolves is not that show. Raised by Wolves is one of those shows where you're like, some people are going to get like, it's going to spawn like an incredible fandom if it gets more popular. People are going to get super into like really unnecessarily insular lore questions that only serve to gatekeep. That's my prediction, at least. And then another group of people, perhaps even a larger group of people, are going to be like, well, I don't like this at all. And both of those are fine, but it's certainly a media property that I think is going to stoke some discussion. And again, I'm not like a Ridley Scott stan. I've for a long time, Prometheus was like one of my cinematic punching bags, if I could flatter myself by suggesting that I have any sort of influence in that realm at all. But I've come to kind of like, I've come to an uneasy truce with Prometheus, where I'm like, okay, so I don't think Prometheus is very good, but I also do respect its cinematography. It's fairly, you know, I mean, it's very well shot, I think. It's just, in my opinion, pretty poorly written. Everything else about it, like even up to the original concept of it, I think is good. And I think that there is a world where, you know, if you make that movie again, it comes out as like one of the better science fiction horrors, you know, in our generation. But for now, I don't quite think of it's there. But anyway, you know, we agree to disagree. We made it through this one. That's 54 wins in a row. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!